Okay, so this is an 85-year-old female who underwent mitral valve replacement with a biological EPIC 29 millimeters and TV plastic with a physio ring with a preserved ejection fraction. This happened 9 years ago, and last year she underwent pacemaker implantation. In the last 6 to 9 months, she had a shortness of breath in mild effort. Coronary angiography revealed no significant disease, but she had moderate pulmonary hypertension and a slightly reduced cardiac output and cardiac index. Transthoracic echo showed severe stenosis of the EPIC valve with a mean gradient of 12 millimeters mercury and an MVA of 1.2 square centimeters and severe mitral regurgitation and moderate to severe tricuspid regurgitation. You can see the labs here, and TPRO-BNP was over 4,000. You can see the medication, and so this is a symptomatic degenerated biological mitral valve replacement. She had to undergo some kind of intervention with an ASTS score of 2.1 and Euro score of 15%. These are the images I showed you. You can see the calcified, degenerated mitral valve replacement, severe MR, severe MR, severe stenosis with a mean gradient of 12 millimeters mercury, and so a few words on the valve. This is a valve. The EPIC valve is a valve with porcine leaflets. The leaflets are mounted inside the stent. You can see the dimensions of the valve according to the application, and we opted to go with the Resilia valve, which is the valve that has a CE mark for transfemoral valve, transcatheter mitral valve replacement. This is once again from the application. This is the part of the left ventricle. This is the part of the left atrium. You can see that the marker of the Resilia would be slightly in the ventricle. We could go with 33 ml of dye, and this is the what we have to look after. You see the skirt is towards the pusher, and the other part is towards the distal end of the delivery catheter, which is opposite to what we know from the aortic valve. We went with the transeptal puncture. We went posterior, so we could have some height to accommodate all of the catheters. And one important point is that we do. This is the coplanar view, so we see the plane of the sewing ring in plane. This was right caudal, so we performed with an SL1 and BIK1 needle on this trajectory, so we could come in a good trajectory related to the plane of the mitral valve ring. There was not too much risk for LVOT obstruction. You can see here it was almost 400 square millimeters. So we didn't have to do any modification of the valve. And this is, once we did the transeptal, this is a very high V wave of 48, as you can appreciate here. And this is, after the transeptal puncture, we went with an Mezilis steerable catheter through the valve. You cannot see the valve. The valve is, this is the ring to the tricuspid valve. And this is the ring, which is you can barely see it to the mitral valve. Sorry, this is the tricuspid ring, and this is the mitral valve. So we went with a pigtail into the right ventricle. You can see the safari wire is upside down. This is the left ventricle, the left atrium. So in TAVI, it's the other way around. And then we put the extra small Safari and as a body wire and performed the septostomy with gradual increasing diameters of the balloons until we went with a 12 millimeters balloon to do the septostomy to accommodate the delivery system. We did the valve alignment as we do in TAVI. We did it in the IVC. And then we had some problems because we could not go. Maybe you can see here the plane of the sewing ring. We could not go through the valve. We kept pushing and pushing. Then we tried several things. We did some, this is the ring. We inflated a balloon and thought that the valve would glide into the left ventricle. Did not happen. You can see here, while pushing, everybody in the cath lab took his shot and kept pushing on the valve, but didn't want to go in the ventricle. Then we started talking about doing another transeptal liposuction, but we did the easiest thing. We switched to the other wire, and once we switched to the other wire, we removed the body wire, and then we went with 200 beats per minute with rapid pacing. We have to inflate very, very slowly, take our time. You see the markers in the right ventricle. The force ordering comes from the atrium to the ventricle. A very good implantation. You see the final result, good function, no residual MR. Of course, I had to do, apart from the echo hemodynamic measurements, this is the LV to the PCW. You see there's no stenosis, and once again, the LV to the aorta, there was not obstruction at the left ventricular outflow tract. And this is the 1 month result. You see a very good functioning valve with trace transvalvular regurgitation. 1.8 square centimeters, the gradient of the valve. There's no significant gradient in the LVOT, as mentioned before, and this is the small iatrogenic ASD, which also kind of helps the patient unload from the left ventricle to the right ventricle. So the procedural steps, general anesthesia, intubation, TE, temporary pacemaker from the vein, transeptal fracture. We have to go high, to go posterior to be high. The Agilis steerable catheter, pigtail, 2 Safari wires upside down, septostomy. The Edwards delivery system, as I showed, the logo faces down, unlike what happens in the TAVI. The inflow and outflow I just showed before, rapid pacing and very slow inflation, so we can accommodate and adjust the position of the valve. Thank you very much for your attention.
So nice. Any comments from the audience? Dr. Triantafyllou, do you have something to comment on? Okay. All right. Nico, what do you say?
It's a great case and illustrates how stable can you be with this sort of prosthetic valves. Now, you think that if you change the transeptal in the original in a different position, it would be more easy to cross the valve. So if you would go a little lower, for example. But for the mitral valve, I don't think you have to be so posterior and high sometimes.
Yeah. I have no idea why we couldn't go through the sewing ring. I have no idea why this. But once we switched the Safari wire, it just went straight forward. I have no idea why this is small.
I think the one of the Safaris was small and the other extra small.
Yeah.
So maybe by changing this wire, you know,
the flexible part of the wire.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
Something like that.
Maybe, you know, change the trajectory a little bit. Nico, you have a comment?
Great case, Dr. Leontiadis, a beautiful result. Awesome case. To your point, I really liked your point during the transeptal puncture, how you mark the coplanar. Sometimes what I find helpful is that I put a pigtail in the non-coronary sinus of the aorta, so it's very visible on fluoroscopy on the bottom of the non-coronary sinus, and that also helps me orient, during the transeptal puncture. That's something that I find helpful for my cases.
Excellent. So thanks, Vangelis. So we have Dr. Katsianos from Hygeia Hospital. The next case.